Banks are supposed to be institutions of trust, but what happens when they become the enablers of crime? From drug cartels funneling billions through well-known banks to corrupt officials hiding dirty money. Today, we uncover the biggest money laundering scandals in banking history, who was involved, how they got caught, and why almost no one went to jail. Let's dive in. Before we dive into the scandals, let's quickly break down how money laundering works. Criminals use banks to disguise illegal funds. They deposit the money, move it through a web of transactions, and finally reinvest it into the economy, completely untraceable. Now, let's look at the real-life scandals where banks not only failed to stop this, but actively helped criminals move billions. First up, HSBC, one of the world's largest banks, caught red-handed laundering $881 million for Mexican and Colombian drug cartels. Executives like Michael Geoghegan and Stuart Gulliver oversaw operations where HSBC branches were literally helping cartels clean their drug money. Drug dealers would deposit stacks of cash in suitcases, sometimes so much that HSBC had to design special teller windows to handle bulk deposits. The punishment? A $1.9 billion fine, a slap on the wrist for a bank making tens of billions in profit every year. No one went to jail. Next, we have Danske Bank, Denmark's biggest financial institution, responsible for the largest money laundering scandal in history, $230 billion. Under CEO Thomas Borgen, billions flowed through Danske's Estonian branch from Russian oligarchs and criminal networks. It was whistleblower Howard Wilkinson who exposed how criminals used fake companies to move dirty money. The bank paid a $2 billion fine. Borgen resigned. But guess what? He was acquitted in 2023. No prison time. Then there's Deutsche Bank, which helped Russian elites launder $10 billion through a sneaky technique called mirror trading. Clients would buy stocks in Russia in rubles and sell them in London for US dollars, effectively moving billions out of Russia. But wait, it gets worse. Deutsche Bank was also one of Jeffrey Epstein's main banks, handling suspicious transactions even after he was convicted. The result? A $630 million fine for the Russian trades and another $150 million for Epstein. Yet no one faced serious jail time. Standard Chartered was caught processing $265 billion in illegal transactions for sanctioned countries like Iran, Sudan, and Myanmar, countries tied to terrorist groups and arms dealers. The punishment? In 2012, they paid $667 million in fines. But they did it again in 2019 and were hit with another $1.1 billion fine. Still, no executive faced prison. Wachovia Bank, later acquired by Wells Fargo, was caught laundering $378 billion for Mexican drug cartels. Massive cash deposits, suspicious wire transfers, everything screamed drug money. Yet, Wachovia's weak anti-money laundering controls let it happen. And the consequence? A fine of just $160 million. No one was jailed. Why do these executives walk free while ordinary people go to jail for much smaller crimes? 1. Too big to jail. Governments fear charging banks criminally will collapse the economy. 2. Deferred prosecution agreements. Banks pay fines but avoid trials. 3. Regulatory loopholes. Some laws favor banks over accountability. So what do you think? Should top banking executives finally be held accountable? Or is this just how the financial world works? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you learned something new, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's biggest financial crimes. Thanks for watching, and remember, always follow the money. Ways.